Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll get going in about a minute or so. I just want to take this opportunity, however, to welcome you to our Lion8 tractor presentation. A little note at the bottom right corner of your screen, however, is that today's presentation is not an investor related presentation, but a tractor presentation, a Lion8 day cab presentation. We'll have to defer all investment questions to our investor relations team, and we'll give you that link at the end of the presentation. I'd like to turn it over and introduce Joe Gwynn, our regional sales manager for the Northeast. Joe will be hosting today's event. Joe, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to start by playing this video about our manufacturing facility in Quebec. And we'll start at 5 after the hour and wait on everyone else to trickle in.
Welcome to Lion Electric. Lion Electric is an innovative manufacturer of zero-emission vehicles. We create, design, and manufacture all-electric Class 5 to Class 8 commercial urban trucks and all-electric buses and minibuses for the school, paratransit, and mass transit segments. Lion is a North American leader in electric transportation and designs, and we build and assemble all of our vehicles' components, including chassis, battery packs, truck cabins, and bus bodies. Let me introduce you to Lion Electric's facility in St. Jerome, Canada. Lion's operations cover 200,000 square feet, and we have the capacity to produce 2,500 vehicles a year. All products are conceptualized, designed, developed, and manufactured by Lion. Our vehicles are purpose-built and dedicated to being 100% electric. At Lion Electric, we also assemble our own battery packs. We have developed our own battery management system, BMS, and battery thermal management system, BTMS, to maximize the safety and performance of our batteries in all situations, from extreme heat to sub-zero Siberian temperatures. Here is our truck assembly line. All our vehicles are fully developed, engineered, and assembled here at Lion. We are extremely proud of the fact that we build all of our vehicles ourselves, from start to finish. This is the Lion C and Lion D body assembly line, where our full-size school buses are manufactured. All of our vehicles are then inspected and subjected to quality control with the highest standards, including on-road testing. This is our Lion A and Lion M product line. The Lion A is intended for schools with special needs students, while the Lion M is a shuttle minibus. We also have service centers all over North America to support our customers directly in their home markets. As you have seen, Lion Electric is very real. In fact, we have over 300 vehicles on the road right now, with more than 6 million real-world miles driven. We have 7 different types of 100% electric heavy-duty vehicles available today, and in 2021, we will increase to 11. Lion Electric, the bright move.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome, and thanks for joining us to introduce the Lion8 tractor today. I'm Joe Gwynn. I'm the Northeast Regional Sales Manager for Lion, and I'm based out of New York. I also want to let everyone know that if you have any questions during this presentation, you can put them into the chat, or you can wait till the end and ask them, whichever you prefer. Now, let's get started with the presentation. So I'm going to start by talking about who is Lion. So if you're not familiar with Lion, we are an all-electric medium and heavy-duty vehicle manufacturer. We have over 300 vehicles in operation today, and you'll notice a picture of a school bus here, and you might have seen some school buses in our our factory tour. That is because our legacy and what we're from is the electric school bus industry. We've been producing electric school buses for several years, and that's where most of our vehicles are at today. And as of last year, we started producing trucks with the experience that we had from making electric school buses. Now we have more than 6 million zero emission miles driven. We have the capacity to manufacture 2,500 vehicles per year. We also have and currently that manufacturing is being done in Canada. And we also, right near that plant, we have announced we're going to be putting in a battery plant. That will start in 2023 and have a 5 gigawatt capacity per year. We have a research and development center in Montreal, and we have a total of 4 to be opened by 2022. We've announced that we're building a highly automated US truck factory in 2022 with an output capacity of 20,000 vehicles a year. And currently we employ 450 people. This has increased drastically just over the past year, and it continues to speed up. So here's our product roadmap for trucks. You can see what we have available since 2020, the Lion 6 and Lion 6 utility, Lion 8 and Lion 8 refuse trucks. We have the Lion 8 reefer, and today we're going to be talking about this Lion 8 tractor, of course, and the Lion 8 bucket is another product that we've launched. Now, coming up in 2022, we will have the Lion 5, Lion 7, and a Lion 8 boom truck. So something that really sets Lion apart is that we are purpose-built to be electric. Our vehicles don't have some diesel legacy. It's not a retrofit where, you know, we're taking a diesel vehicle and putting on batteries and putting things where we can make them fit. We're building this vehicle to be electric from the very beginning. So we build our own chassis and cab. We have more kilowatt hours available than any other OEM on the market, and that's because we're purpose building. And we have a composite cab. That means no rust, no corrosion, no paint, no downtime. It's lighter. So, you know, that helps us get more range as well. We've got regenerative braking systems that last 3 times longer, or your brakes will last 3 times longer because whenever you're coasting or slowing, you're turning the motor backward to generate power for our batteries. So brake changes are less. There's also, you know, I mentioned we're not retrofitted diesel and born to be 100% electric. We're also custom building the instrument cluster for the interior. So it is all the display and everything in there is really made for electric and to display all the information you would want to see on your electric vehicle. And I have a slide on that a little bit later. I'll talk about some more. Another footnote here is that an electric motor, you know, has only about 20 parts. It's not really something that's a large service component. You know, motors are dropped and replaced. They're not like a diesel engine that has 2,000 parts or more, and you know, takes a lot of tearing apart to work on. We have a number of facilities and a pretty large footprint in North America already, and you might not be aware of this, that we might have a facility right in your own backyard. Near me in Albany and South Plainfield, there's a couple of facilities with another one planned for end of 2021. We've got a lot on the West Coast you can see. So all the blue markers are the current facilities. All the gray ones are ones that are coming available in 2021, and there will be a lot more of these too. So stay tuned. So what are the advantages of going electric? Well, there's a lot, a ton, more than we can fit on this page probably, but we're just, you know, to cover some of the main ones. The 80% reduction in energy costs is huge. The 60% reduction in maintenance is another really big advantage. And of course, you know, with these percent based advantages. The more you drive, the more money you will save on your operations. So we are a zero emission solution. We have the lowest total cost of ownership, no noise pollution, lowest maintenance downtime, and that is largely due to having so much fewer components, and also being able to remotely diagnose any kind of issue that might be happening without having to tear apart an engine like you would with diesel or something like that. We also have the best in class driving experience. Um, Vehicles that don't have an engine chugging along burning fuel are a lot smoother on their acceleration. There's not a really complex transmission on this thing to make it shifting, jerky or anything like that. It's a very smooth experience, and our air ride suspension and air ride seating can only help that. And then also, it's a safe vehicle. It's got a lot of safety features built in, and even some add-on safety features that I will talk about in another slide. So this, before I start talking about the tractor, this one kind of gives you the full picture of everything Lion does. We don't just manufacture and sell vehicles, because in the electric vehicle space, there's a lot more going on. So we have the grant team. We have a Lion grant team that can help with any funding opportunities for our customers. I'll say, we don't need grants to justify, the return on investment with our vehicles, but the grants are required for a lot of people to purchase, so we can help there as needed. We also have a Lion Energy team who can help with the complete charging infrastructure. We can even do turnkey solutions, or you can just source the charging station from us. We can work with local utilities. There's a lot that we can do on the Lion Energy team. There's the Lion Academy that offers training for drivers, fleet staff, and mechanics, and that we're always putting new material on here because there's always new tips and tricks that we want to share. Then we have the Lion Beat. The Lion Beat is it's a purpose designed EV telematics system. This system also interfaces with Geotab, who is one of our telematics partners. We understand that there's a big need for telematics in EVs because there's more data you can get from an EV. So we want to capitalize on this. We have an assistance center that you can call if you need any help with anything. We also have the Bright Squad, which is a team of local service techs who can be called on site to fix any issues. We can bring vehicles into our facility and work on them there. We're pretty flexible in working with fleets and how they want to do it. We even provide some training to your own mechanics so they can handle a lot of this stuff on their own, but we're there to support, and we can be dispatched as needed. So here is the Lion8 tractor. So it's a front and a side view here. We have listed some targeted vocations or applications that we're really going after. That is food and beverage, last mile urban delivery, drayage, waste hauling, moving companies, third-party logistics, and distribution centers. That's some of them. There's probably a lot more we could add to this, and maybe some on this call might have some applications that fit. We also should mention that the Lion8T, this has the highest kilowatt hour offering in the market today. And on the next couple slides, you'll see what that means. So I'm not going to review every number on here because there's a lot, but an important one to note is the battery capacity is up to 653 kilowatt hours. It's the most in the industry. And that can give you a range of up to 260 miles. Now, I would say not every application is going to require packs of that size. So we wouldn't just slap the largest pack on every single build. We kind of, try to optimize everything so that you have the best payload and the most capable miles for a fleet. Some other important numbers here. Torque is great on a vehicle like this. You've got 840 foot-pounds of torque. We have an EPTO available for running any hydraulics or anything that's required there. Another really important thing to mention is the 2-speed e-axle that this vehicle has. This is kind of a game changer for the industry. On the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit more about why this is so important. But another thing from this slide is the level 3 charge time. We have a minimum charge from 0 to 100% of 3 hours. Now, something to know about charge times on electric vehicles, it's not linear. So, the first 50% is pretty quick. Even up to 75%, it's pretty quick. It's that last 25% that takes a while. Now, again, just like we right size the batteries, we right size the infrastructure as well. So with the charging equipment, we wouldn't necessarily put in a station that's going to charge this quickly if you don't need it to charge this quickly. It could be overkill. So we look at each person's specific application and make sure the right equipment is selected. And another important item on here is the chassis suspension is Hendrickson. Even though we're building our own chassis today, we are using components that are pretty well known on this chassis build. So parts are available, and it's pretty well known how to work around these parts or order these parts. So here's another picture, and this picture helps illustrate my point about the e-axle on the rear. So traditionally, a lot of electric vehicles have used a centrally mounted motor that powers a drive shaft that powers a rear differential, and that kind of a layout has a lot of weight to it and a lot of takes up a lot of space. By eliminating that on this design and having an e-axle that directly drives the rear wheels, we've freed up more space for batteries. As you can see, these packs that are kind of mid-body. We've got also packs behind the cab as well. This is a day cab with, in the back of it, it's got battery packs. So a couple of important numbers here. In the US, we have an 82,000 pound gross combined weight rating. Now in Canada, bridge law allows for more, so we can do more. It's 109,100 pounds in Canada, actually. Some other important things to see here, front tires, rear tire specs, and the wheelbase of 200 inches. This slide here is about charging and infrastructure. So we are capable of level 2 or level 3 charging. On a vehicle this size with batteries of this size, we would almost always recommend level 3 charging, unless maybe there was an issue at the facility that couldn't support level 3. But level 3 is going to be optimal for your DC fast charging and reducing overall charging time and keeping it in a reasonable range. We've got the Lion Energy team who can help decide what charging station, because all level 3 charging stations are not created equal. There's some lower power ones, and there's some really high powered ones for faster charging. Lion Energy can kind of help make sense of all this, and we can do project management. We can help with our relationships with utilities, and we can design and review the kind of charging strategy that would work best for your fleet at your location. And here's that instrument gauge that I was speaking of earlier. So you can see this is custom built by us, has everything you would need to know about our vehicle. The state of charge, it's got the regenerative braking status, the gear that you're in. It's got the HVAC indicator to let you know if you're using energy there. We even have auxiliary heater option, and this will show you, what the fuel level of that auxiliary heater might be. And we have a histogram of energy consumption, so you can look over time and kind of see how you've done. And it's even kind of fun to play a game and try to do better, try to beat your previous score. We also have a 12 volt and 24 volt battery state, charge, and we also have, I think, the high voltage status to let you know that the vehicle is ready. Here's a list of our top truck customers. You may have seen some of these names like Amazon, Waste Connections, Hydro-Quebec, SAQ, CN, Con Edison. Recently had an announcement with one of our bucket trucks, EcoMain on our refuse trucks, CNS Wholesale Grocers, Constar Supply. Pride Group was one who just announced our largest truck order to date of 100 trucks. So that's another big one for us. And Park Safari is another one. So cab equipment that you could expect is basically what you'd expect in a conventional truck. We have AM/FM radio, USB, Bluetooth, MP3, and a couple of speakers that are located right in the doors. And now is where we talk about a lot of the safety systems that we have available. The ADAS, or Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, are paid options that could include or will include active collision mitigation, adaptive cruise control, lane departure systems, and blind spot detection. The collision mitigation system is something we've developed that can provide forward collision warning and active braking and strong performance, even in poor visibility conditions. The system's always on, and it is always working when the driver needs it most. This will mitigate, a lot of the rear end collision situations you might see. We also have adaptive cruise control that can provide steady state following. It will notice if a slower object is in front of you and slow down. It can depart from an object. So the way it works is after the driver releases the accelerator, the adaptive cruise control system will become active again. And if there's no need for the active control, it'll remain enabled and it'll continue monitoring the road for any objects ahead. We also have a lane departure system. This is the #1 critical event for large truck accidents. So we've thought of this and we've implemented this warning that basically if you drift out of your lane, you're going to get an alert so that you get back in your lane. Blind spot detection. This is another, major cause of accidents on the roadway. We have a radar-based system that it helps drivers notice any vehicle that might be in their blind spot. It uses a best-in-class short-range radar that's mounted at the side of the truck cabin. So that's how it works. We've got also, next slide. We've got the typical, OBD ports that you'd expect on a vehicle. We also provide a USB port and a 12-volt DC port. So what makes Lion the leader? Well, we are North America's OEM with the most experience on the road. That 6 million miles is unmatched. Manufacturing vehicles fully from chassis to cab is really unmatched. And then, our battery capacity on these trucks is unmatched. We have a global experience in the deployment of electric vehicles. We are making them 100% electric, and they're purpose-built for it. We're not doing any diesel work. So this is our focus 100%. We also have the ability to leverage incentives, and that's gotten a lot of our trucks on the road for our customers. And we have a really dedicated team of experts here that, we meet all of our customers' needs in any way that we can, as I talked any infrastructure grants, you know, any service, anything you need, we've got the teams here to support it. And really, we have just an unprecedented drive to make the world a better and a brighter place, one truck at a time. And that's what I've got. Here's my contact information with phone number, and we can open it up to the question and answer portion.
Thanks, Joe. Hello, everyone. My name is Mark McGrew. I'm going to manage the Q&A portion of this along with Gary Lalonde and Joe. I'll be going through the questions. So if you have any questions that came out of today, again, a quick snapshot and overview on the introduction of our Lion8 tractor that we're very excited about. Please put them in the chat. I'm going to go through and call on either Joe or Gary. So we'll spend the next 10, 15 minutes answering whatever questions you have. And then, of course, please reach out if there's anything that we don't cover today. We'd be happy to answer those questions for you.
Okay. Mark, if I can, I'll start with, we've got a couple of questions, and I tried to answer some of these during the presentation, but I've got a couple of questions around certification. So thank you for, there was an attendee who prefers to remain anonymous that was asking about certification. We meet and actually exceed all certification requirements. So thank you for asking that question. And the vehicles are certified to operate in the US and in Canada. So thank you for that. We had also a question with regards to servicing and selling our vehicles via dealer network. While we will not be operating a dealer network, it doesn't mean that we won't leverage a customer's current infrastructure. So if they're operating with someone that they prefer continue to work with, we will reach out to them and strike up an agreement and an understanding on servicing the vehicles. And we'll do that on a case-by-case basis. So far, we haven't had any issues at all for our more than 300 vehicles in either servicing directly at our experience centers or leveraging their current infrastructure. So thank you for those questions.
The other one that I thought was really good came from Randy. Will Lion's Battery Factory build lithium-ion cells, or will it be building the modules using outsourced cells? Gary, do you want to handle that one?
Yeah, I certainly will. So we'll be sourcing raw material. We'll be building our cells and then building the modules, right? And that will allow us to benefit from different form factors depending on the vehicle. A lot of those materials can be sourced locally. Already, we only deal with tier 1 providers to make sure that they're sourced ethically. But by owning that, not only do we control the costs, but we also control the sourcing 100%. And a lot of it is available here in the US and in Canada. And our intention is to leverage that so that we don't have any disruptions by either transportation to get it, or if there's any wars or in certain countries, we won't be impacted by that at all. We'll control that. So thank you for a great question.
And in follow-up to the battery question, Gary just asked where your battery production facility will be located, which was just recently announced, I think 2 weeks ago, correct?
It was. So it'll be within 10 or 15 minutes of our factory where it is right now. So the battery factory will be in Canada. It'll be in Quebec. It'll be, like I said, within 15 minutes of where we are right now. We have a couple of locations that we're sourcing, and we're really close to announcing the final facility. But we've had enough positive feedback, not really feedback. We found some really great locations. We're just finalizing the details right now.
And Joe, I think you mentioned this in the presentation, but just in case there were any people that came in late, what is the max battery size for the Lion8 tractor as far as kilowatt hours?
I believe that was 653 kilowatt hours for up to 260 miles.
Correct. And just for everyone's knowledge, we take a modular approach. So we have several offerings on these battery packs, as Joe mentioned in the presentation, to meet the range and requirements, that everyone may have per vocation. The next one that came in, what is the advantage of being purpose-built in terms of metrics? So I think the question is, are there any advantages to be purpose-built from a payload standpoint over a diesel that may be converted? either one of you can take that one.
Yeah, I can take that. So the big advantage is, a conventional vehicle that's built for a diesel engine to be in the front. And then if it's retrofitted, they're putting packs where they fit, and usually that's not in the front, it's the back. So you're changing the weight profile. You're putting more weight over the rear axle than it was designed for. There's a lot of problems with retrofitting. When you're purpose building, you can build it with electric in mind from the very beginning and not run into these issues of fit and weight and a lot of these payload issues. So our payload capacities are higher. We can put more packs on if required. And the drive quality, the weight at all four corners is better. There's a lot of things that just make a lot more sense to purpose build from the beginning.
If I can add to that, it also allows us to put everything where it belongs. Like I think one of the things that we've done in other presentations, and maybe not as touched, is our designs. Our vehicles were designed so that when your driver is doing his inspection before leaving in the morning, if he was or she was to miss a fluid level and had to add it, everything is easily accessible. We didn't have to hide it behind something. We made it so that it was easily accessible, and you can use it with a 1 gallon jug if you had to stop at your parts store or at a gas station, whether it's coolant, whether it's power steering fluid, whether it's windshield wiper fluid. This is easily accessible, and that's one of the other advantages of having something that is purpose built. By the way, if I can add to that, we considered going to retrofit. In our history, when we first delivered our first vehicles, they were school buses back in 2011. They were diesel. It would have made a lot more sense for us to simply retrofit what we were already doing. And we realized very early on, and we aren't the only ones. If you take a look at what all of the OEMs, especially on the passenger vehicle, are doing right now, you don't see any OEMs on the passenger vehicle retrofitting what they've got today. It would make total sense for them to do it if it made sense. That's just it's a bridge to get us from what we have today to where we're going. Well, we have it where we're going is something that's purpose built.
Thank you, guys. So this is a good question, and this really applies to all of our trucks, not just the Lion8 tractor. But do you test range estimates with a full load vehicle or empty or partial? What is our testing strategy to validate miles?
I can answer this one, and it's actually a pleasure to say that we do all of our testing under a full load. We had someone come to actually the testing facility and saw the vehicle, and it was on maximum load. You could tell when the vehicle was turning, the tires were compressing the same as if they were fully loaded with freight. But in this case, we fill the vehicle with, in this case, with cement in the back of the box to simulate, and we max that one out. So absolutely, we offer, and all of our calculations are based on a vehicle that has full load.
Gary, maybe this one's for you again as well. What is your capacity for ramp up in the next 5 years for Canada and the US? And I think we mentioned that briefly, that will be coming online with the US factory in the US. I think that announcement, Gary, is going to be made here in the next 30 to 60 days as far as location, correct?
Absolutely. It'll be made in the next 30 to 60 days. That's for sure. We started off with the entire US. We've brought it down to 3 states, and we're finalizing the details. We'll have some great news to announce shortly. Our capacity ramp up is interesting because what it is in today will not be what it is in 2 years from now. Today we are building. So here in the Saint Jerome facility, we can go up to 2,500 vehicles. Our highly automated facility in the US will go up to 20,000 vehicles. But as we see the demand continue to grow, there's already plans on growing another plant in the US. Now, again, that will be dependent on the volume. So I'm not announcing today that we're going to have a third factory in a short period of time, but I can tell you that of all of the locations that we looked at, even the ones that today might not make it into our next facility, if they're still available in the future and we needed them, we would be able to ramp that up quickly.
Fantastic, thank you. Joe, this one is for you. The question states, the day cab has a big space behind, right? So it almost looks like it's a sleeper, but we all know it's a day cab application. We're using some of that space for our batteries and battery thermal management system. It just says, is it full with battery packs, is the question.
Yeah, the space that is there, I mean, we stack the batteries vertically, we're putting them in such I wouldn't say they go all the way to the top of there. You have to build that shell to just conform to the aerodynamics of the vehicle, though. Mark, you might know better how high up the batteries go or how full that gets, but for a good, in the picture, we had 3 battery packs there at the bottom next to the frame. You can imagine there's 3 battery packs there too. So it's about the same height as you see on the frame.
Yeah, we've chosen to go with 3 packs directly behind the cab, but it also houses the thermal battery management system. So that is, and we've done that and spread out the load for the best center of gravity. So that's the way that it's been designed. So it's not fully loaded with our entire 653 kilowatts. There's just 3 packs behind there in our battery thermal management system. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, 3 of 9 packs are there.
Let's see. Gary, maybe this is for you. Do we have any intentions to make a sleeper cab? And I think part of that comes with, with battery technology and, moving from today being more urban, with our, urban delivery with our range capabilities. But the question specifically is, are we planning on making a sleeper cab?
So we are going to respond to what the technology allows our customers to do. Understand that our objective when we launch an electric vehicle is to ensure that a customer can continue doing the job that they're doing, whether it's hauling freight, whether it's going up with an aerial device to work on power lines. We want to make sure that a full day's operation can be used. If you look at sleeper cabs today, they're made to go long distances, and today the battery electric vehicles can't go long distance without interrupting the normal flow. That doesn't mean they couldn't, but then it would mean that they would have to stop for charging along the way, and therefore it changes the normal. So today, the answer is, do we have plans for it? Not today. Will we ever get there? Possibly, but right now the batteries, and as the chemistry continues to get better, the density continues to get better, they become more compact, lighter weight, you can go further on them. There will be a day when a battery electric vehicle will be able to accomplish that, but that's not for the today. So we will respond to the market. Right now, we don't have any plans. I can tell you, looking at on the drawing board, we don't have any plans to have a sleeper. If it comes up, we may consider it in the future.
So Jamie asked a question that's perfect transition to that question and your answer. And it's kind of funny because I think you're on a panel next week talking about hydrogen versus electric that you'll be speaking on. But the question from Jamie is, will Lion ever build hydrogen or another alternative fuel to achieve greater range or payload?
And the answer to that question is a resounding no. We build urban vehicles that allow us, and by the way, that urban market is huge, and it addresses the vast majority of the truck market, the vast majority of the greenhouse gas emitting vehicles for that market. For the time being, there are other people trying to address the hydrogen market, and I say trying to address because I found a paper from 1971 that talked about hydrogen as being the fuel of the future. Fast forward 50 years, we still talk about it as being the fuel of the future, but we haven't seen anything concrete. Mark mentioned it. Next Tuesday, I'm on a panel where we talk about that very thing, put together by the Walton School of Business at the University of Arkansas. So if anybody wants to jump on that, I encourage you to do that. But today, we don't see hydrogen as a viable solution, and therefore we're going to focus on our core expertise, which is battery electric vehicles.
Excellent. We've got 5 minutes left, so we'll keep the questions coming in. Looks like most of the attendees are still here, so thank you all for your great participation. Let me run through. One of the questions, with these types of trucks, Gary or Joe, whoever wants to take it, charging time is very important, especially with certain vocations where they're going to be, they're going to be dropping and running, dropping and flipping and going. What type of charging capacity or max capacity has Lion tested out to today?
We have tested up to 150 kilowatt, and that is, I believe that's the highest we've done today, and that was what our prediction was based on earlier, where we said from 0 to 100%, minimum of 3 hours. That was at that largest pack size. If you didn't require such large packs, it would be quicker. But we make sure we put in the right solution based off what the customer needs. A lot of times overnight charging is sufficient. So we wouldn't spec the highest power charger if that was sufficient. Also, the point I made during the presentation was that charging isn't linear. So if you have any opportunity charging, or you're near, you're very low and you're trying to get to 50%, it's a lot quicker than trying to go from 0 to 100%. So that's something to keep in mind.
The other thing I want to mention is, and I answered this one, I wrote it out, but is we have a battery lab here. And, in the battery lab, anytime that we have someone that wants, because the reason we've only gone to 150 is that that's the highest that a customer has asked for today. And so if someone wanted it greater, we would simply put it in a battery lab and we would be able to offer that. So that's the only thing, if someone came to us tomorrow and said we needed to be 200 or 250, then we would work out with the right partners to test it and we'd come up with a solution. But as of today, that's a very accurate answer, Joe, and thank you for that one.
All right, so I'm going to take two more questions, and I think this is a great one that we have not talked about. But Gary, what's the production lead time? When can we expect to see some of these tractors on the road? And if someone was to place an order today for a tractor, when would they expect to see one delivered?
So the tractors will be available towards the end of Q3. So we're looking at the September timeframe. But you can understand that we've already got quite a few orders in right now in the system. So if we were to order it, we would either be looking at the end of Q4, so we're looking at December, or early into 2022. So we'd be looking at next year.
Excellent. And the last one that we'll take that I can see in here is just talk about the brakes. Who are we using for our braking systems? Are they hydraulic brakes? Are they air disc brakes? And are the brakes connected with regenerative braking system?
And I think that's really the key of what I'm going to speak to here, because the brakes, let's face it, we use standard components, right? So we didn't invent anything new on the braking side of it. But the question around the regenerative braking is it's slightly misnomer, because regenerative braking has actually nothing to do with your brakes, and that's the reason that brakes last so much longer. Joe addressed this during the presentation, but when you take the foot off the accelerator, the wheels are still turning, it's still spinning the axle, the motor's still moving. The motor not getting any energy from the battery is now putting energy back into the battery. That entire system is what causes the vehicle to slow down. You can hit the brake at any time, by the way, so you can absolutely hit the brake at any time. But people with electric vehicles, they tend to only use the brake to stop, not to slow down. You learn very quickly how to gauge your distances so that you take the foot off the accelerator, it starts slowing down immediately. For anyone that's driven a stick shift or a manual car, it's kind of like going from third gear to second gear. You feel that resistance. Well, that resistance is called regenerative braking. So it's got, like I said, it's a slight misnomer because it has nothing to do with the actual brakes. We call it regenerative braking because you are slowing the vehicle down and it is regenerating and putting energy back. But that was a fantastic question. Thank you for that.
Perfect. So Gary, just one request in here. Can you put a link in the chat, if possible, to your hydrogen versus electric presentation for next week? It looks like there's at least one or maybe others that would be interested in joining.
100%. I will make sure we get that in there. Let me see if I can get it before today's presentation is done.
Okay. We'll take one more and then Joe, will turn it to you to close it out. Does Lion have any operating or finance options available with our Class 8 tractor or any of our trucks for that matter?
You want to take that one, Mark?
Yeah, sure. So we are starting to partner with a variety of finance and leasing companies. And I think that would be something that we would take as a individual question, and it's going to be based on number of units ordered. Right now, today, we have 2 or 3 different companies that we're working with. And these are going to be traditional finance leases. So certainly an option, something we're going to continue to explore. We're also working on full service lease maintenance packages. That's something the truck industry is obviously very familiar with as well. So all coming, but yes, we are headed down that path where, if it's not going to be a direct purchase, there will be some finance options available. Joe, I think that's it for questions. If I can turn it back to you just to close things out, that would be great.
Yeah, Thanks, guys. Thanks for helping me answer some of these tough questions, and great questions by everyone. I would just want to close it out by saying my contact info is here. If you have an interest or an immediate need for anything, just don't hesitate to reach out. Even if you're not in the Northeast, I can get it to the right regional manager for you. We've got regional manager coverage all over the US and Canada as well. So I really appreciate everyone joining in, and I look forward to seeing more of these get on the road and in your fleets. Thank you.